Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show.
On a beach in the sand, I think of you. I think of you. Did you realize I love you all my life? And when you're gone, I'm all alone.
Now, today, there was an assassination attempt on the former President Donald Trump. These things are so important that I felt the need to address it in my own way. To be honest with you, I'm almost surprised that it's been so long since something like this has happened before, because it seems like we as people have been getting a little more violent and more violent every decade. But since it has been so long, I'm very happy about that. But it brings me up to the conversation I was having a week ago about karma. Karma is one of the most difficult things to talk about when it comes to spirituality without hurting the feelings of a lot of people. Now, it's not my mission, it's not my job to hurt the feelings of people. However, I wouldn't be doing what I came here to do unless I was making my points very clear and making it one of the most important things in spirituality is karma. What I mean by karma is you reap what you sow. The things that you do today will affect you tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, they will affect you later in life. I could mention some things right now that would be so hurtful to some very dear friends of mine that I'm going to avoid doing that as best I can and still try to get my point across. I have lemons in the water to help me clear my throat. Some people have a wonderful talking voice. However, I'm not one of them. I have a great singing voice. So it's not the same thing. If you're going to be a great talker, then you're probably not going to be a great singer. If you're going to be a great singer, your voice is going to be a little on the rugged side because of it's a whole different kind of discipline. But getting back to the topic, it is a horrible thing that happened to the former president, Donald Trump, today. And for those people who are not Donald Trump fans, well, just think of it in terms of if it happened to you. And so, but we're talking about someone who once said he could shoot somebody on the street and get away with it. So, see, this is what I'm talking about. We really need to stop thinking like that because, you know, what goes around, I mean, if somebody like Vice President Trump honestly believes he can do that, well, then life is a lesson. And you might just, it's reminiscent to some things actually, there's too harmful to say. I'm talking about people who have said things 30 years ago, and now you hear them, the same thing that they downplayed or said wrong is coming back to bite them years later. This is what I'm talking about. So this is why it behooves you to try to be very good to all people all of the time. Because whenever you do something that's on the negative side, you're only attracting that to come back. You know, it's just, that's the way the universe works. It just works that way because we are only here to learn lessons. And if we go around being negative towards people, then that's a lesson that we're going to have to learn. And the only way we can learn this is by, I got the lesson early. My father had a way of talking to me. Basically, I was afraid of him. So I remember I was about 5 or 6 years old and we were riding down the street and I saw this lady walking down the street and she was very drastically, seriously bow-legged. And I pointed at the lady and started laughing. And my father went off on me, and in such a way that I've never again had I ever teased somebody because of the way they looked. Because of the way they look. Now, that is a lesson I learned early on. However, I am sure that had I not learned that lesson, I might have been the one with the legs that were, you know, that's just the way things. Be careful how you treat people. Be careful how you hurt people. Now, some people ask, so Curt, you know, I am an armed security guard, so I protect people. However, when I decided to do this, my decision was that I felt that I could be one of the persons that was going to be, in other words, I'm not going to be the person who is aggressive with a gun. I felt that by me being there, there's one less person that is aggressive. I mean, it's just, I don't even carry mine half the time. Well, I carry it, but they don't know where it is. The point being is, it's better. I decided years ago that the worst thing a human being could ever do in this lifetime is to take the life of another human being. To me, that's just the worst thing you could possibly do, simply because it only means that you're going to come back in a situation where it's a reciprocation of that. So if I can get through here without hurting somebody like that, you know, we do little things. We might break a heart here and there and all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about the taking away of someone's life. That is a very serious thing, and it leaves a long-lasting effect on the other person. So I'm very careful when I drive. I make sure I talk to my spirit Curt and say, hey, let there be no accidents on this freeway today. Because the worst thing that could happen is if I not paying attention and I'm on the cell phone and I hit somebody and I don't think I can live with myself if I cause that to happen. I'm the kind of person that even if I did something wrong to a female, I'm still apologizing 10 and 20 years later because I forgot maybe that I've even apologized, and I want to make sure they get it. Because I'm not going to feel good about myself so if there's any women out there that I did something bad to, all you got to do is hit me up on Facebook and I'll make sure I give you a decent apology. I believe that's very important. And I'm glad Donald Trump is okay. Do you realize how amazing it is for a sniper to go through all that trouble and miss by this much? What that simply means is it was not his time to go. And so, but that should be enough to tone down the rhetoric. We'll see about that. He may start talking about how he is now Superman or something. I don't know. It's just I hope that it will tone down negative rhetoric about. Maybe he will have a whole. Could you imagine if he came out of this with a whole different outlook on life and the preciousness of it, and the realization that he got shot through his ear, which is a bad thing, but the bullet itself killed someone else behind him, and this person that died behind him had nothing to do with the person. You know what I mean? It's just not fair. It's not fair. So perhaps that is the Creator's way. Now, when I say the Creator, I'm going to take that back. The Creator doesn't have anything to do with that incident. What that incident represents is the karma of the people that are involved. This is the way the whole thing works. The Creator of the universe is a perfection. What he does is creates. One of the things that he lacks, if he lacks anything, is the ability to be crazy. He lacks the ability to be evil. Anything in association with the Creator that is evil is coming from a place that knows nothing about the Creator. When Christianity talks about God is putting them in hell, I only wish that some of these biblicists that teach that would just it wouldn't take them very long to find out that none of this stuff is true. It wouldn't take a preacher very long to find out that the Creator doesn't put people in hell. It's not that hard to do. It's actually common sense. You almost have to insist on it in order to believe it, because there's too many things to the contrary. Things like Jesus never said that. Jesus never taught hell. People are lying if they say he does. And that Apostle Paul. What about Apostle Paul, who only met Jesus one time for a second? He just saw him, then he talked to him. And then he comes up and writes most of the things you hear about Jesus comes from the Apostle Paul. Yeah, who didn't even know the man, who just saw him. Now, how many people can you just see and then you write a whole thing about him the way you want to write it? You know, we're speaking of Paul. Some people know him as Saul of Tarsus, but anyway, you biblicists know who I'm talking about. He simply made up exactly what he wanted to make up about Jesus. I think he figured, okay, I better write something about him than about my. If you can do your research on these people, you will find out how much he didn't know about the person he wrote so much about. And you pastors are out here teaching everything that Paul said without even checking your own facts. Now, what I'm trying to explain is that the creator of the universe is too, he lacks the negativity to see what it's like to kill, maim, destroy, and bomb, and do all these other things. So what the creator does is he creates spirits. Spirits, from his standpoint, are particles. They're like little bitty specks of light that enter into a biology and gives it a spark. You take a one-cell amoeba. The nervous system in that amoeba is so simple. All it takes is a little tiny spark. But when that little tiny spark hits that amoeba's going to move around and learn some things when he moves around. And at the end of this amoeba's life, this spark will be a little brighter than it was when he first met that amoeba. And so this spark gets a little bigger. And now this spark is big enough to go into something a little bigger, and then a little bigger. And gets to the point where the spark is so bright and powerful that now it's time to enter into an agreement with a human avatar. Now this spark is so large, you got this human avatar that's got a brain and is learning random stuff. The creator of the universe cannot make up the kind of stuff that's going to come out of this brain of this spirit. That he can't make it up. It's like the creator of the universe is simply sitting there watching what people do, going, wow. Even though he knows they're going to do it, well, as soon as he finds out, he's going to be like, wow, look what you did. And human beings can be so negatively created that they can create things so negative that the creator is not capable of doing that. So the whole thing is to see life through the minds and through the actions of avatars that are not on the level, that are learning. And the main thing is, like, even if you have a child, you with your own child likes to watch your child and see that child grow. You'd like to see that child mature. You'd like to see that child progress. And so that's what he's doing with human nature. He's watching human nature progress. The creator of the universe just saw former President Donald Trump attempted assassination. And although he already knows what's going to come of all this, this could have a reverberating effect on everybody in the world. Could you imagine if former President Donald Trump decided to be decided to be good? This could be the thing he needed. Now, I fear, because I watched his behavior after, and he was raising his fist. I fear that he may become more empowered than he was before. Please, Mr. Trump, do not become more empowered in a negative way because of this, because you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are looking at you, and they're going to behave exactly the way you do. Whatever you do, they're going to follow it. I want to talk about demonic possession. Demonic possession is not what you think it is. It's not the kind of thing where the devil jumps into people. You can tell that because they got so many mentalists running around and people so willing to tell you that what your dead relatives say. If evil spirits could literally jump into people, there would be no mystics talking about, okay, let me tell you what your dead relative said, because all the negative spirits would jump into those people who are inviting those spirits to be jumped. See what I'm saying? So you know that's not real. Spirits, negative devil spirits don't jump into people, or they will jump into all these psychics saying, give me $20 and I'll give you a reading. They would just, anyway, they would occupy those people who are inviting them in. What I'm saying is that what demonic possession is you have a good, let me tell you, okay, I'll give you myself as an example. I got possessed once, okay? This is demonic possession. I hope my cousin doesn't get upset with me. But I was about 8 years old, and I'm fine. I'm perfectly a fine little kid, 8 years old. And I see my cousin over here standing, near the candy thing over at the store. And I'm thinking, what's he doing? And he standing there looking kind of quiet, and I don't know what he's doing. Well, when we get out the store, he got some candy. He stole it. I'm saying, how'd you do that? And he told me how he did it. So I said, teach me how to do it. See? Now I'm possessed. Not a lot, but a tiny, tiny bit. A little bit of me has got a little bit of devilment in him because he taught me how to do that. See? Now, what happens is you learn how to do that, and then you learn how to do a little more. And then you learn how to do a little more. Next thing you know, you might be stealing a whole bunch of stuff. Now you're all the way possessed. A possession is a measured thing determined about how much, if you have this much morality and it dwindles down, the lower it dwindles down, the more possessed you are. By the time you get here, you're a psychopath. By the time that's what possession is. There are people running around right now today that that are psychopaths, that are possessed, and all they are really is people who started up good, but the goodness in them have diminished to the point where they don't give a damn. That's all possession is. And that is a lot of people. That's most of the people you know. All the people, talk about gangbangers who thinks it's okay to do what they do. Well, that's a form of possession because they've gone from this point to this point. Now, this is not something that a devil has jumped in. It's just a breakdown in their morality. People who do evil things, it's a breakdown in their morality. It's not like the devil jumped into it, because if that was the case, they could be walking around one day good, and next thing you know, oops, I want to gangbang. Why? You wasn't gangbang yesterday. I don't know. Something just jumped in me. No, it doesn't happen. It's a gradual thing. It degrades into that point. So we have a wonderful opportunity. This is my prediction. After this, Donald Trump he's going to realize some things, and he's going to become such a great, nice person, loving and caring about everything, and he's going to realize that he would never want to shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue because he knows what it feels like to get shot. And the chances of that happening, but hey, you never know. You never know what might strike some people and make them wake up a little bit. He could end up being a good person, which is what I don't care about who the president is because I can't. I have to be neutral in the situation because the kind of work that I do, I got to go down with the ship. If the ship is going down, I got to go down with it because I'm sure I have my own karmic debts. So whatever presidents do and what all that, I got to go with the flow because I'm not going to. They're all of them need to be good human beings. If they could be good human beings, then that's the best we could ever do. So Donald Trump will be all right. I hope he just doesn't get carried away and start thinking he's super duper and this kind of thing, because we're at a very pivotal point where, like I said, possession is not something that just happens to people. It also happens to governments and countries and worlds. When the civilization, the civilized aspect, the good of the people start to diminish, and once it gets to a certain low point, there is a point where it's like, okay, you're halfway the devil. And this is all the devil really is. It's just an emotion, a negative emotion. It's not a person running around, and all that. That's just goofy. But anyway, Lucifer was real, but he really didn't have the ability to. Anyway, so once humanity drops to a point that's so low that it becomes a very negative thing, that's when your country is possessed. And we're right about at the middle right now. We're right at the middle. We can go either way. We can go either way right now. So we're on the verge. We're on the brink of something good or something bad. And it's going to take the goodness in people. Don't celebrate the fact that somebody was almost assassinated. Don't celebrate that, not if you believe in karma. Because guess what? You don't want to be riding down the street and some stray bullet comes and hit you upside the head because you thought it was a good idea. That's how karma works. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Go to Curt in Pasadena, California. Welcome to the program. Hi, Curt.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, sir.
Well, I am a spiritualist, which means my spirit talks to me. And we go back and forth, and we've been going back and forth since I was a child. And it will answer any question that I have for it. Like you, George, you always ask, what is deja vu? I can explain that to you, as well as the Big Bang. Yeah.
Tell me about the Big Bang, Curt.
Well, that's kind of long. I'd rather do deja vu first.
Okay.
Deja vu is simple.
We'll do the Big Bang during an open line Friday one night.
Thank you. So anyway, the deja vu, what that is since we live in linear time, there is no such thing as something happening and you saw it before. So when you think you've seen something, you could not have seen it because it could not have happened yet. However, we do know these things happen. The reason it happens is because your spirit lives in a place like this hyperspace where the past, present, and future is the same. It knows what's going to happen, so all you're doing is catching up to what your spirit has already seen.
Yeah, right. I call that panoramic time. It's like your mind is outside of time and it can see all of time from this higher perspective.
Subscribe and push the like button.